Welcome to this special edition of Coffee Time. We're going to look at some of the ways that you can work smarter instead of harder. One of the things that I will say up front is that of all the websites and apps that we'll look at in this little short tutorial, it is possible to work smarter, but it does cause you to work a little bit up front. Some things have to be set up, sometimes they have to be tweaked a little to make them work, but all of these have been time savers for me. I happen to drive 90 miles to work every day, and so I'm in the car for 3 hours a day, and as a result, I need to automate a lot of things. And so the things that I'm going to talk to you about now are things that have saved me a lot of time, both online and in life in general. So grab a cup of coffee and sit back and let's take a whirlwind tour of some of the things that I use to work smarter. All right, so one of the things that hits us, especially working online, is that we are often distracted. As you can see, a lot of us are distracted by cat videos. And so it's really, really important that we figure out a way to focus our attention. And so to do that, we need to streamline some things that we work on every day. And so we're going to talk about ways to work smarter. And the first place that I always go is Symbaloo. And it amazes me, no matter how many workshops I give on working smarter, the vast majority of people seem to have never heard of Symbaloo. And so I'm going to tell you just a little bit about it right now. Now, I do recommend if you set up an account that you go to edu.symbaloo.com. There are two websites for Symbaloo. There is the regular Symbaloo and the edu Symbaloo. The regular Symbaloo may have things in it that are not always appropriate for school, but the edu.symbaloo.com was set up specifically for educators to be able to pull websites together to use very, very easily. And so here we are, Symbaloo. One of the things that I've done here is I have created a page for myself. This is my home page no matter where I start online, whether I start in Chrome or Safari or Firefox or whatever. I've set this page up to be my home page. And you'll see across the top tiles for things like Facebook and Twitter and my Tumblr account, my Outlook, my Gmail account. Down toward the bottom, you'll see some of the financial things that I do, my credit card accounts, my bank account. Also, some other things on here, some things to do with photography and other kinds of sites that I use typically for my job. And they're all right here in one place, very, very easy to use. So to create a page, when you log in, you'll get a page with some recommended sites for educators. And when you want to start adding tiles, it's just this simple. I have an opening right here, and I'm just going to click here to add a tile. And I'm going to say that I want to create a tile. And so I already have this site on here, but I'll just use my blog, if I can type, timchilders.com. And I will verify that that is a website. I'm going to show the text. I'm going to put here the name of my blog is Tinkerings. So you'll see I've got the text up here. If I wanted to upload an image, I could. And I'll just show you this over here is the image that I have for my blog now. And so I can choose that. I can change the color of the tile if I need to, and then just click Save. Then, when I come back and I click that link, it will automatically take me out here and open up my blog post so that you can enjoy the reading at timchilders.com. So Symbaloo is one of those things that I used when I was in middle school. I set this up as a home page for my English class. And so let me just show you a little bit about how that works. So let's take this one right here. This is a web page that somebody else put together, and I went out and found it. I did a search in Symbaloo for what I was looking for and pulled it in. And so all of these apps that are out there for the iPad to help students learn math are all in one place. Now I can share this out. You see this little share button up here. I can share this out to other people who then pull it into their Symbaloo page. And anytime that I update my page, they automatically get updates as well. So we're tying everything together. So as a teacher or an administrator, especially as a teacher, if I have a lot of web resources I want my students to use on a regular basis. I could set up a Symbaloo page and save myself a lot of hassle of students having to type in long email address or long URL addresses and getting the spelling wrong. But I can also set it up as I have done here on my homepage just to save myself time. I don't have to type any of these pages in anymore, and it saves me a lot of time in the long run. So that is Symbaloo. Let's talk a little bit about Feedly, and I'll just leave this. I won't go back into presentation mode, but let's talk about Feedly. So again, you'll see on Symbaloo, I have Feedly as one of my tiles, and Feedly is an aggregator. So it brings in RSS feeds, it brings in blog feeds, and it saves them for me. Now, I've just recently cleared mine out, so you'll see over here where it says all, I only have one blog to read. This one happens to be listed under technology. It is from The Verge, and this one happens to be about an online game. Okay, so if you look over here, you'll see I have education, fitness, food, friends blogs, iOS apps. All of these are the main headings that I save them under. And every morning when I get up, I will have about 100 to 150 blog posts pulled in here to read. Now, I don't read them all. I skim titles. And for instance, this one does not interest me. And so I'll just click this little check mark right here, and it will show it as read, and it will fade it out when it's done. So if then I come over here and I say, okay, here are some related feeds. So let me just show you how easy this is to load. Let's say I went out and found a website that I wanted to add, and I pulled it in, and it comes up like this. So I do have something in here about food. I'm just going to click to add it to Feedly, and I'm going to say I want that to be about food, and you'll see a little check mark there, and I'm going to close that. And now I will have under food the last 8 to 10 blog posts that this place has posted. So one of the nice things about Web 2.0 is that it brings all of our information to us. We no longer have to go out looking for stuff every day. If something new is posted to one of these blogs, it automatically comes to me. And I'll probably check this 2, maybe 3 times a day, and try to keep it down to 0. If not, I'll wake up one morning, there'll be 1,000 things to read, and I just mark them all as read and start over. Okay, but if I have certain things that I like to read, for instance, Seth Godin's blog, blogs on leadership, things about educational apps for the iPad, all of those kinds of things, I can pull them into here, and I don't have to go look and say, I wonder if anybody's written anything new over here. It automatically pulls it in for me and saves me the time for that. So that was Feedly. Another one that I use is Diigo. I don't use it as much as I used to, but there are some really cool ways to use Diigo. And you'll see up here at the top of my browser, I have a button for Diigo. And so again, let me just come out here to timchilders.com. And let's say that I want to save this page to Diigo. Now you say, okay, why do I do that instead of Feedly? Well, Feedly brings things to me, but Diigo lets me share things out to other people. So if I say that I want to save this page right here, it will come up and it will ask me for tags. And so I'm going to put personal, I'm going to put blog, I'm going to put Childers, things like that, and I'm going to say save. Now, I also have these groups out here that I'm a part of. So I can either save it just for me, and I'll be able to search it later by tag. So for instance, if I'm doing a research project on how to integrate technology into the geometry classroom, I could save all of those things to Diigo with the same tags and find them all in one place later. I could also share them out to this group so that it posts out there, and anybody that's a member of the group then will see that I have saved this page for whatever reason I've done that. So I'm just going to click save, okay? And then if I go and I say I want to go to my library, here is the Diigo page, and you'll see right here I've just saved Tinkerings. Over here are the different tags that I have, and the different numbers of pages that are in there. So they're ordered by page number, how many different types of pages I've saved for that. So if I wanted to look something for reading, and I click on that, here are all of the articles that have come up that I have saved that have to do with something about reading. I can also come out here to my groups, and I could say, okay, so here's 14 new items in mobile technology and education that I haven't seen yet. And I can find all of those as well, and all of those are tagged over here also. So Diigo is a great way to save information. So as a principal, I might use Diigo to set up, there's an education side of this. I can set up an education account, and I can set up a classroom. So that as a principal, I might invite all of my teachers to follow what I save on Diigo. And then anything that I find that has to do with leadership, or has to do with RTI, or has to do with raising standards, or engaging students, technology in the classroom, I can begin to save those out here, and my teachers will have access to the articles that I think they might be interested in reading without having to email them a link every time I find something. So it's a nice place to sort of position everything, and for people to come along after you and find out the things that you've saved. So that's Diigo. And again, you can follow these in much more detail as you go along. Boomerang only works for Gmail, and most of us have a Gmail account. So I'm going to open mine up. I never know what I'm going to find when I open it, but I'm going to open mine up. And I am going to say if it will ever open. Okay, so here is an email. It's sort of a nondescript email. And you'll notice I have a tag up here for Boomerang. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to use this. One is I can say if I'm going to send out this email, okay, then I could say I want this to come back to me if nobody responds in 2 hours. Okay. And this is going to close. I just logged into Boomerang. And so that email is now gone, and it will come back to me in 2 hours. If I were to do, let me pull up one of my own here. And so if I click in here to reply, you'll also see that I have Boomerang down here at the bottom. So what Boomerang does is it allows me to schedule emails to go out. I could say, here's an email I'm going to send. It's 11 o'clock at night. I don't want to send this right now. I want it to go out at 7:37 in the morning. I can set that time. I can also say, okay, I'm going to send this email out. I'm going to send it to 10 people. And if nobody responds to me within 24 hours, I want that email to come back into my inbox because I want to be reminded that nobody's paid attention to my email. So again, as an administrator, I could send out an email this way to teachers, and if nobody has done any of the work that I asked them to do, Boomerangs will bring it back to me to remind me that I need to do it again. So it's a way to schedule things within Gmail. Works wonders. Great little tool and great add-on for Gmail. If it is a website that stands for if this, then that. And that's exactly what it does. So if I come out here and I go to the if it site, if this, then that, I'll just show you a couple of things that I have here. So if I go to my recipes, they call them recipes here. So I'll come back to this one later because we're going to talk about Pocket in just a little bit. But here's one because I live in Chattanooga, but I work in Knoxville. That's 90 miles away. So in the morning, I want to get a text message sent to me that gives me the weather report for Knoxville. And so I get it at 5:30 in the morning before I get dressed so that I kind of know it's going to rain. If it's going to rain, I need to wear darker clothes and make sure I kept my umbrella, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So that's a nice little thing. I've also got a couple down here. Anytime that I post something new to my Tinkering's blog post, it will automatically post it to Twitter. It will automatically post it to Facebook. I don't have to go out and do those things. It's scheduled that for me. So if I come up here and I say I want to create a recipe, this is just how easy this is. So the first thing you're going to have to do is find where it is you want to start. If this happens, okay, and here are all the channels that are available, and there are a lot of them, okay. So let's do. I love it when I make stuff up as I go along, because then I'm like, oh no, maybe not that one, maybe this one. Okay, so let's go to Pocket. All right, so here are the things available for Pocket. Okay, so this trigger will fire every time a new item is added to Pocket. So this trigger will fire anytime I add something to Pocket with a specific tag. All right. This one will fire every time I favorite something in Pocket. So you see the differences in things. So I'm going to say every time I add something to Pocket, all right, I'm going to create this trigger. So what's going to happen? So any item added to Pocket, what do I want to happen? Let me find Gmail. So I want to send an email to myself. Okay. So T. Childers, and the title is new Pocket trigger. And then down here are all the ways that I can customize this. And then I'll just say create the action. Okay. And so create the recipe. And now I have this new recipe here. If anything's added to Pocket, it's going to send an email to me at my Gmail address. Why I would want to do that, I don't know, but I just want to show you how easy it is to set it up. So as a result, anything that I want to automate, okay? So every time I post something to my blog, it will do this. Every time I favorite something on Twitter, then this is what I came back to. Let me just go ahead and show you here. So I have this here. All right. So anytime that I click favorite, if I click the little heart on a thing on Twitter, it will automatically send that tweet to Pocket. So typically what I do is, if I'm reading through my Twitter feed and I don't have time to read an article right now, I don't want to lose it. So I will favorite the tweet that has a link to the article, and it will automatically store it in Pocket for me, and I'll go back and find it later. So we'll talk about Pocket in just a minute. So if it is a great way to do that as well. So speaking of Pocket, here we are. So I want to show you again, most of these things give me some type of icon up here at the top, and Pocket is no exception. So here is a save to Pocket link. So for some odd reason, I have just saved this page to Pocket, but I did that because I want you to see these three little dots over here, and I want to open Pocket for you rather than go to my phone. This is an app on my phone, and so I can look at these articles anytime, anywhere, and read them when I have a few minutes available. So here's the one that I just saved, and I'm just going to say, okay, I don't really want that, so I'm going to delete that one. And so here's Easy Social Media Management, which is one I saved, where companies apply to hire you. And so any of these I can just click on and read. I can save them, I can archive them, I can favorite them, I can do a lot of things with them. But the idea is, if I'm too busy to read the article now and I don't want to lose it, okay, then I can favorite a tweet, because I find a lot of great reading material on Twitter. I can favorite that tweet. It pulls that tweet into Pocket with the link to the article, so that I can go back and read it at my leisure. And so those are some of the reasons I would use Pocket. Again, so Diigo has an app. I can do all that stuff in Diigo on my phone. If it has an app, I can create new triggers and if it on my phone. Pocket has an app, so I can do that on my phone. And so all that's available. One of the first things that I started using to automate was Buffer. So bufferapp.com is a website to set up. There's a free version of this, but I pay $10 a month for the premium version so that I can schedule more things. So what Buffer does is it allows me to schedule posts to Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. which I don't use Google Plus anymore. So Facebook and Twitter are the two that I use. Okay. So again, if I come out here and I say, here is timchilders.com, and I'm going to click on this particular story so that you have more of a specific URL up here. And I want to share this out. I've just found this great article. I want to share it out. If I click on the buffer link, you'll see that it comes up and it gives me what's going to go to Twitter, and then I have to write something for Facebook. I can leave it blank or I can write it. So I'm just going to write in here my blog post, okay? And then I can just simply add that to the queue, and Buffer sets up certain times during the day that it will post. And it gives you recommendations of when the best times of day are to get the most readers for your posts based on your account. So I have a post set up for 5:30 every morning. So that's before I'm ready to even be online yet most mornings. But I'm already making an impression out on social media. I'm already getting my brand out there. I'm getting things out that I think are important or just interesting, that I think the people that follow me on Twitter or on Facebook would like to read. Okay, so I can either add it to the queue, or I could share it next, or I can share it right now without putting it in a queue at all. So I have all those things available to me. I'm just going to close this, and I'm going to go to bufferapp.com, to the website. And again, there is an app for this as well, just like everything else. And so here are the queues that I have. So here are my queues for Twitter. I have 5 things in the queue. For Facebook, I have 5 things in the queue. But, I decided that this last thing about, I didn't ever post that. Okay. So if I look at this and I say, you know what, I'd really like this one to go out next, I can grab it over here and just pull it up, and I can rearrange everything that way. I can also delete it if I don't think it's going to be important to me anymore. And it will track how much usage each post gets, so I get an idea of the kinds of things that my followers like to read. So again, as an educational leader, as an administrator, one of the things that I'm trying to do is put my presence out there as much as possible. What I find people doing is they'll be sort of on a roll, and you'll go down through your Twitter feed and you'll find like 10 or 15 tweets from one individual. Each one of them has a different link in it, and you're just overwhelmed all at once with this bombardment of information, and then it's gone. It's rode the wave of the tide out on Twitter, and you'll never find it again. So Buffer helps me to sort of stack things out and time intervals throughout the day, so that I'm not just posting everything at one time and then nobody ever sees me again. So that's sort of why I'm using Buffer. And then I also use another Gmail add-on called UnrollMe, and I'll show you what this is. So if I go to unroll.me, again, I have already sort of done all mine. So let me just come up here and see if this will take me back to, okay, so here's yesterday's. And so what Rollup does is it allows me to control a lot of the peripheral emails that come in from Gmail. So if I have subscriptions to websites that come in, if I have marketing that comes in, I can do several things with that. So one of the things that, let's go back a page. So I want you to look here at the top. I have 593, that's 593 separate email addresses added to Rollup. That's 593 separate people or organizations who send me emails. I have 501 that I've unsubscribed from. Now, I've not necessarily unsubscribed from the site. What UnrollMe does is if I get an email from that group, it just automatically deletes it for me and I don't ever see it. Okay? And then I have another 192 separate email addresses that I still allow to come into my Gmail box to see in the inbox. So anything over here under the roll-up, once a day, when I get up in the morning, I have one email, and that email comes in and gives me a list of everything that has come into my Gmail account since yesterday that ordinarily I would have to sift through every single day. And I can pretty quickly just sort of scan through here, see the things that are interesting to me today. Don't really need South Carolina shrimp. And when I get to the bottom, I'm done. If I see something that is of interest, so let me just come back up here and say, what might be of interest? So we'll just pull up Living Social. So it comes up, it pulls up what I want. All these things are links that take me out to the website directly. If I just click over here off of it, I go back over here. And then once a day, I go through this. I decide what I want to read. So for instance, here's one of the things here, 10 creative online presentations ideas. So let's just pull that up, and this is kind of how it goes for me. I would look through this, and I would say, okay, this looks like this might be interesting. And so I'll come up here and I'll say, let me just buffer that real quick. And I'm not going to add anything here because this is what people are going to see on Facebook. That's enough for me. I'm going to add it to the queue, and I have just shared that out to all of the people who follow me on Twitter and all the people who follow me on Facebook. It probably won't come out until sometime tomorrow, but it's in the hopper waiting to be done. So it just sort of takes all that stuff and allows me to roll it up into one place, and it does a great job of making my inbox manageable. The last thing I'll tell you about is this little deal called Hopper. If you travel much at all, Hopper is a great little thing, and so let me go to Hopper. Is an app that allows you to search for flights on a particular spread of days, and when you look at it and you say, okay, I'm not ready to buy yet, but I'm going to have Hopper watch this flight. Anytime there's a price change, it will send you an alert. And then it will tell you, we predict that the price is going to go down, don't buy yet. We predict the price is going to go up soon. You might want to think about purchasing your tickets now. So again, it's just an iOS interface that allows you to track air travel and then allows you to purchase that travel when the price gets to where you want it to be. And it does all that in the background, and you don't ever have to worry about it. So I can go on and on, but I have taken up a lot of your time already. So let me just come back here and finish out this presentation by telling you you can work smarter. These are just a handful of the ways you can. If you'd like to learn more, follow me on Twitter because I post things out there all the time. I'm at @tchilders. And until then, enjoy the coffee, and we'll catch you next time.